Okay, so now we're going to work on the antennas on the sides here. This is what we're going to be looking at. I'm going to drop another sphere in the scene. Go over here to a front view. O on the keyboard. I'm going to go to the Object tab on the sphere and make the radius about 11 centimeters. Also going to bring it over here to the right. And I want to change the type from a standard to a hemisphere. So I only have half of it. And we're going to go to the Coordinate tab. And let's go ahead and rotate the bank 90 degrees. Get something like that. Kind of zoom up on that, hitting O on the keyboard, kind of pull it up there. I'm going to come up here to the sphere and rename this right antenna. Let me just jump into a perspective so you can see what we have here. O on the keyboard. Okay, kind of see what we're doing here. Go back into the front view. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. And now I want to come up here and grab my B-spline. And I want to make a spline that sort of starts right around here, comes out, and ends up here on this grid plane right here. I'm going to click here. And you see this is in my way right here, the gizmo. So I'm going to click on Alt or Option D on the keyboard to temporarily make that invisible. I'm going to come out here, click there, and then maybe do something like that. Now if I click Alt D or Option D again, my gizmo comes back. So if you're going to make that invisible, be sure and remember to make it visible again, or you'll get a little further down in your work and you won't know what's going on. So now I can come over here, come into my live selection mode, and if I want to, I could select my points, sort of play around with these. I could move them, pull them out. If I want something a little more like this, I could just pull this out. So you have a lot of flexibility after you get these things drawn. You don't have to go with exactly what you drew the first time. Very editable after the fact. But I'm good with that. You go into perspective so you can see that again and see what we've got. So what we're going to do now is we're going to sweep a circle along this spline to create the antenna going up. So I'm going to need a circle. And I'm going to take that circle and make the radius about 2 centimeters. And then I'm going to grab the sweep NURBS. I'm going to drop my spline under the sweep NURBS and then take the circle and drop it there in the middle. You'll see now we have our geometry. Right now that is very, very thick, meaning it has a ton of segments in here. And you really want to keep your scenes as light as possible. So if you don't need all of this geometry, there's no reason to have it there. And I'm going to change this to natural. And immediately that gets rid of a lot of that geometry. Look at my spline. Take that to natural. And that just lightens up the scene a little bit. Next thing I want to do is come back over here. I'm going to drop another sphere in the scene. We're going to make that sphere about 5 centimeters. I'm going to go into my front view by middle mouse clicking. Get my move tool. I'm just going to move this up onto the top of the antenna. Hit O on the keyboard. Kind of get it exactly where I want it. Take a look at my other views. And again, I'm hitting O on the keyboard just to zoom that up. And that looks pretty good. Take a look at it here. All right. So now I want to take this sphere in the sweep NURBS and the antenna. And I want to Alt on the PC or Option on the Mac, G to group these. We'll call this right antenna. And then I want to duplicate this by holding Control or Command on the Mac and just dragging. Rename this one left. Middle mouse click here. Let's go into top view. Come over here to my axis tool. And I'm just going to pull this over here because this is where I want my axis center to be. Then click that again. Then I'll just move this complete group over here. O on the keyboard, zoom in. And the reason I moved that axis point was because I'm going to rotate this around and I want it to rotate around this point in the group. So what I want to do is with this group selected, go to the Coordinates tab, and just spin this around 180 degrees. Maybe just move it up a tad bit, flush with the side of that head. Take a look at what we got, and I'm going to call that good. In the next movie, we're going to tackle the eyes.